I don't know if I don't know if I know. I don't think I know more about Arid than Steve. I don't know if I could correct him on much. I just have
Mm,
to remind him who certain figures are.
well, yeah, no. Once you start running that stuff, and you have so much of it just like piled up in your head, it all gets confusing after a while. I mean, you can't remember all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Uh, it would get really confusing.
It would. 25 years. Have you been working on Inzae for 25 years? Or is Inzae like younger than Arid?
No, we probably started both of ours roughly at the same time. Uh, though I can't be no because Steve played in Greyhawk a little bit longer than I did, but not significantly longer. I don't know when he actually. No, 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 no. When he started running, even his old Greyhawk game, he was building his own world within Greyhawk. His own mythologies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then just transported it over to and changed it to Arid, I suppose. And then in Zaya, I was running that. I think by college I had started it. So in the early '80s, mid '80s, mid '85, '86, something like that.
Damn. Wait, so you
Now I did
started it in the
not
mid
do
80s.
hmm,
You started it in the mid 80s. So that's
in Zaya.
40 years.
Yeah, and I think
Holy
I would
shit.
say that Aird is probably just as old because he was running his game then. No, I know it was because he was in college too.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was all fleshed out by the time he joined the army, or not all of it fleshed out, but I mean a good portion of it. Now I will say he fleshed out more than I ever did during the '80s and '90s. I mean, he had those two huge volumes of notes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and mine were scattered out over 10,000 sheets of paper with a scribbled note here and a scribbled note here and a letter to someone here and something like that. Uh, Especially during the '90s when I wasn't playing regularly at all.
Mm.
And my stuff would just scattered around, and I would occasionally come back to it. But yeah, they've been
That's so
around for a
wild.
long, 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 long time.
Do you have like a really good idea of Inzaya then? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe that's a dumb question, but
yeah, I do. So the thing is, and part of the problem I've had with like producing it is, and I've talked to my brother about it, and he wants me to do it just like originally envisioned.
mm,
Okay. So originally envisioned, it's not going to be a classic fantasy setting.
yeah.
There's no elves, there's no dwarves, there's no gnomes, hobbits, nothing like. It's basically humans and trolls are the two, or humans and goblins, sort of in a way. But that's a collective term for things. But it's humans and trolls are basically the two elements
Yeah.
that are at war. And
The
then there's that,
factions.
yeah, the two factions. But then there's like these there would be akin to Fey elves or something like that who were supposed to take care of the first tree. But I never considered them elves, nor did I let anyone play them. They weren't a playable race,
Yeah.
right? They were just immortal beings who were slowly being killed off and dying because there was nothing to take care of, no tree to take care of. And then but I never had an origin story for them. Yeah. Oh, did I tell you about the truck drive that when Steve and I were going on to Gen Con one time?
No, my brain is spinning right now.
Okay, so we're going to Gen Con. We're talking about our collective worlds, and
Uh huh.
like there's missing spots in my world, right?
Yeah.
There were like I had never fleshed out the mythology of X, Y, and Z. So Inzae the dragon existed eternally, whatever, and eventually just went mad from loneliness, and she rips a hole in existence, and that's where the maelstrom is, and all the matter of the universe comes from. This one spot, the maelstrom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she tries to make worlds, okay, from all the matter that was there, so she could make something in her likeness that she could talk to or communicate with, right? But she
That's
never
what she
quite does it.
wants.
That's what she wants. She wants something to communicate with, something to talk to, something to be in existence with her because,
Yeah.
being alone, that was her thing. being alone drove her insane, right? But she can't do it because she's destruction incarnate, right?
Yeah.
She can never complete anything. So everything she makes just like decays and goes away. But I don't have this so I didn't until eventually she makes the world Inzae and things live a little bit longer or whatever. But she's always unhappy with it, right? There's the other thing. And I say she's just, I don't mean that in a particular sense. I mean, it's a god, right? I just call her a she because it fit perfectly with there's actually a reason.
Gender is a mortal construct.
Well, in this instance, the reason I call her she, there's actually a reason, because at this time when I was developing Inzae, I had started my anthropology degree, and we were studying the Venus figurines, right?
Yeah.
Which were found throughout Northern Europe, and they're female fertility things. So I was like, okay, there's my baseline. Female fertility is the baseline that I'm going to work with. Okay. And also it was heavily influenced by anyway, whatever. So, but I don't have a really good element for an oppositional element for her, right? She's just destruction. And she's the language of destruction. She speaks destruction. So everything she touches or creates eventually just decays and falls apart.
You described it to me once as the reason why she the elements in the maelstrom was because she destroyed the nothing until it was stuff.
Until it was something.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I said that on the podcast, so I wanted to make sure that was correct.
Yeah, so she exists in nothing.
Yeah.
And she goes crazy, and she eventually just spins around trying to eat herself. She was trying to consume herself is what happened. Yeah. And when she was going around in those circles, she rips the universe open, and that's when everything comes out. But I didn't have certain other things, so I always needed this antipode for it, right? Something opposite, because I only had the language of destruction.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm driving up with my brother and I going to Gen Con. We're talking about our worlds. I was like, I got this. And then he's talking about the All-Father, the God of creation. And then it occurs to me, he's created creation, and I've created destruction. And then they meld together just perfectly.
And just like that, neither of them were alone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what happens then, and this is I guess in 99, when things start to come together, because I don't have an origin for the Inzae, the ones that watch over the tree, the first tree. I don't even have an origin. I didn't really have an origin for the first tree. It's just a myth.
The elves are called Inzae.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're so they come from so what we decide is the dragon is sitting in this nothingness or whatever at the maelstrom, and all her things are destroyed, right? And she sees a light in the distance.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And then she crosses the universe, and the light's the All-Father, right?
Yeah.
Because Inzae is just darkness, and she goes to the light, and then they talk.
Yeah.
And they exchange their languages. So she learns a little bit of the language of creation, and the All-Father learns a little bit of the language of destruction. Now, they don't do it with intentionality, right? There's no desire for that to happen in a way.
It's not like the All-Father is teaching her creation or that she's teaching him destruction.
Right. It's just, but they infused, you learn a little bit of it. So the All-Father's creations prior to meeting her were perfect.
Yeah.
Infallible, and Inzae's were completely just falling apart. But when she learns creation, her things can last a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. At the same time, the All-Father learns destruction, and his things start to decay and go bad, right?
Wait, okay. Wait. Okay, I'm piecing things together in my brain. So, in the Days Before Days, the All-Father's first thought was the Arc of Time.
Yeah.
And then the second or third thought is Toth to order the Arc of Time.
The order, yeah.
I'm trying to think of when, according to the Codex, he talks with Inzae, and who's before and who's after. Because I think Unklar comes after his talk with Inzae.
Yes.
Inzae, sorry.
Yeah.
Is Unklar like...
I don't know if we've ever specifically decided the origin of Unklar.
He was a nightmare of the Allfather.
Right.
But did that nightmare happen because of the Allfather learning about the language of destruction?
That would be my take, is that the dragon ruins the Allfather's worlds. Okay.
Oh my god, dude.
Just brings ruination to perfect creation. Because the way I tell it, the Allfather only knew creation, right? But could create perfectly.
Thoth was perfect.
Yeah, and Thoth was perfect. Yeah. The Arc of Time is perfect. The pools at the end of time are perfect, right? That's the perfected part.
Holy shit. I even said something like this. Like, maybe something about, like, the Allfather talking with Inzae and having that communion with her is part of the reason why things are so kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
In Erd. And that is why.
Yes. Yeah. That's the way I see it. Now, you're have to ask, him, my brother, how he sees it. But that's the way I see it. So the dragon comes and fucks everything up. But she gets the capacity to create things that last longer, that are more stable, that have like will and power and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she comes, but she doesn't really have much, and she sees the trees that the Allfather has created, and really wants trees.
I remember Mordias really protests to this like deal between them. She does not want Inzae to have the trees.
Yeah, so Inzae had like 100 children, right? 100 eggs, none of which had hatched, but she decided to give her first egg to the Allfather in exchange for a tree. So that's Frafnog, the dragon in there, and she gets the tree, brings it back to her world. She creates her world, which becomes stable, but she also brings back some elves, or to one of the first creations of the Allfather, to watch over the tree, to care for the tree, and some giants. They each had a reason, right? The giants there to supply nourishment, go around the world, pick the nourishment, feed the tree, and the elves or whatever they were there to take care of the tree, prune it, and do
water it and all that stuff.
Yeah, water it and all that kind of stuff. But it all goes wrong.
It all goes wrong.
Yes, it all goes wrong because the tree will not produce. It will not, no seeds, nothing from the tree for ages and ages and ages. And eventually the dragon gets mad and decides it's a bad deal and destroys the tree. But the elves defend the tree. They try to defend the tree, right? The Inzae, we'll call them. They try to defend the tree. The giants do too, and they're called Trotingen. And they try to defend the tree, and the dragon's having none of it, and kills millions of them. Just millions of them, right?
Is it like an airtout sized, like massive tree, or like a regular sized tree? Okay.
Oh no, it's a massive, tens of thousands of feet tall. It could cover half of the world in its size. So the dragon just takes the tree up in her maw and shreds it, destroys the tree, every aspect of it, consumes most of it, and the rest of it scatters as splinters all across the world.
That must have been horrible.
But then they turn into trees. That's how the trees come to grow. Grass, flowers, everything comes off of the tree once she destroyed it.
Because her thing is destruction.
Yeah.
And so she destroys the nothing until it's something.
Yes. She can only create by destroying something.
Holy shit, that's so cool.
Yeah, and the most creative process is to destroy the best thing, right?
Yeah.
So
kill
the better
your
it
darlings is, and all that.
Yes. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, that's sort of the story of that. That's why it's all destruction. It's all one piece of destruction after another after another. And it's why I refer to her also as the gardener, okay? Because she comes through and destroys the world every once in a while. She just gets upset or whatever. She's unhappy with it or something's going wrong or whatever. And she comes in and kills everything that she can. Just destroys everything that she can. And it starts over and over and again.
That's such
But
an
from
interesting
her perspective, like from an outside perspective, it's just like having a garden. Every fall you go in and rip it all out. You have to take away the weeds. You have to pull it all up and replant plants. And she just starts over and over again. And then humans come along and they don't want none of that shit. They don't want to be destroyed.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
My brain is like pouring smoke right now.
Yeah, but it all came together once we were on that trip, and I wish we had a recording of those conversations.
Oh, I would give anything for that.
Oh yeah, it was like because all of the mythologies of both of them were starting to come back together.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that we hadn't played together at that time in probably 15 or 20 years. You know, and we're developing our own worlds. And when we talked about them, they meshed together just perfectly.
Yeah.
Story-wise.
So,
but
the Allfather, in the very beginning, before he ever talks to Inzae, it seems like there is an innate, like, understanding that all things have to end eventually.
Yeah.
Does Inzae have, like, a similar understanding at the beginning of her life before the Allfather? Because it seems like she practices it on Inzae.
She knows that all things will come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But her desire is for it not to. So like the Allfather creates the pools at the end of time, right? Because he knows that that's perfection. It comes to an end.
Yeah.
For Inzae, she knows that it comes to an end, but she's fighting every minute of it. Okay, she doesn't want it to come to an end, but she knows that it does. And by, she wants to destroy everything, and she thinks that that'll stop it from coming to an end. Just start again, start again, start again, start again. And it'll just go on forever like that.
In a way, she's right. In a way that she might not anticipate.
How's that?
We've talked a little bit about in secret meetings that we can't discuss like the details of on a live stream. We've talked about the cycle of the arc of time and of the Allfather, and how like once the Gonfod comes and all things end, the thing that only Mordias and the Allfather seem to know is that, the streams of his thought will at last gather in the final pools, and everything will end and kind of swallow itself, and then it'll all repeat again.
Yeah.
Because life.
Oh yeah. There is that.
So she's right in a way. That's so interesting.
Yeah. But she doesn't want the pool of time. She doesn't want everything to gather into the pool of time.
She's such a cool foil for the Allfather. It seems like for every thing that the Allfather has like no emotion toward, she has a lot of emotion toward.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that before. Yeah, no, that's true.
That's so cool. I love like their contrast to each other.
Yeah, it's sort of funny, and it probably reflects both of our personalities, because we're so different.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. But they come together. Yeah, they come together really perfectly. It's and yeah, I've got the mythologies worked out. The countries are worked out. Most of the mythologies are worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have this thing built in where I like to tell these stories about the gods and stuff like that, Yeah. And they don't all coincide. They don't make sense. Like if you stack them next to each other, because they contradict each other.
Yeah.
But there's a reason, because they're just stories.
Yeah.
They're not the truth. They're just stories.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
It's the myths within a myth. So you can hear, like Heimdall has 3 different names, throughout Inzae. 3 different names, 3 different purposes, but it's the same god. But just people see him different.
So
Uh,
Inzae has its own pantheon.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
there are, yeah, no, there are several levels. So there's the dragon, her children,
Mm.
so the 99 worms, and I have names for all 99 of her children, right? And I know what happens to almost every one of her children. A lot of them get killed. And then there's 13 uh 13 of her first creations, and those creations hold the world currently together. So there's one, like, of them, there's like four at each corner of the world. There's one underneath the world holding it up. One pulls the sun around the world. Two are at the moon to keep eyes on the world. And they're spread out like that to do all these things.
That's so
Oh, and
cool.
there's this other thing, but they have children too. Okay. So
Yeah.
these 13 have children, and then those are called the first men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the gods. Those are basically the gods that humans worship and stuff like that. They're the ones who say, like, we don't want to die.
Yeah.
Okay. And they have children too. Those gods have children, and those are humans. Okay, humans. Those gods and humans are not bound to Inzae. She didn't create them. Okay.
They came to Inzae from Aird.
They came to Inzae of the will of the 13 gods, right?
Wow.
So they're not bound to Inzae. So they actually have souls. Nothing else in Inzae has a soul. Nothing. That's why when they die, they just go away into nothingness.
Into
But the gods and
maelstrom.
humans have souls. And it's all, yeah, threads and sewed together, and it's big fabric of fate and stuff like that.
Do the humans who die on Inzae also just go to nothing, or do they return to their afterlife in the stone fields or whatever?
There's several things that happen. The heroes are called by Heimdall. Uh, Anyone who dies heroically, any human who dies heroically, is called by Heimdall and are given a choice. They can go back to the Maelstrom, or they can stand and fight with him in the final battle. Wow. When Inzae comes back to the world. Because she was knocked down, right? The gods stood up and fought her and knocked her down. She flew down into the world. That's a big lake in the middle of the world.
Okay.
Is where the dragon fell. Okay.
And she's like inert in the world's center.
She's in the world center, yeah.
That's such an interesting parallel to Aird, because all the gods are locked outside of Aird.
Oh yeah, no.
And there she is, locked inside of Inzae.
Yes.
Yet another opposite.
Yes, and here's the funny thing, like in a bear cult, so like in game, this hardly ever shows up, right? Any of this stuff, but occasionally it does. So there's a poison in bear cult. You can catch a fish. You can buy a fish from the fish market, right? These fishermen go out to the middle of the lake and the Inzae, and they fish, and they get this blood something. I can't remember the name of it, but the fish comes from near the bottom of the lake, right? Well, where the dragon sits, her essence seeps at the bottom of the Inzae, and it poisons everything.
Yeah.
So the fish, you take it out, and you take its like guts and stuff like that. You can make a really good poison out of the guts from this fish because it carries with it the poison from
dragon's blood poison.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun writing it.
So fucking cool.
I enjoy it.
It feels like, so in my brain, not only does like, and I don't, like, maybe I'm fully off base. I might be fully off base with this. It feels to me like the Allfather has so much in common with Steve, and I feel like Inzae has a lot in common with you. And in my brain,
probably
Inzae and Inzae represents like intelligence, and the Allfather and Aird represents wisdom, because it seems like the Allfather's process is very like intuitive. He's kind of not really guided by anything aside from his whims. He wanders from one project to the next, just kind of fulfilling his wants. Whereas what you're describing Inzae doing, the gardener, where she's going and she's fulfilling these processes because she has a plan, and it's like a systemic thing where she's like, you know, taking care of her world and meticulously doing stuff to achieve a certain end.
Yeah.
Like neither one of
Yes.
them is wrong. But like, and I don't, just hearing the stories of like you guys as kids were like hearing about
Oh
all
yeah.
your giant maps with like all the details mapped out, and then hearing how Steve like wouldn't even open a book. It's like intelligence wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Intuitively feeling your way through it, and that it's funny. It's like with rules too. It's like when I was making rules for Castles and Crusades, I like, you can ask my brother, meticulously go through and math them out, give percentages and chances, and
Yeah.
here's your probabilities of this and that, how this needs to be equal, and he could go through it and read it, or I'd play it out for him, and he has an intuitive instinct, like that rule doesn't work. And sometimes he can't explain why, but that's not going to work. That's not how this works. It shouldn't work
Right.
like that, right? Whereas I'm always trying to math it out. It's why, like, sometimes I have problems with the magic user and cleric, is because I sit there and I read them and I'm like, you know, I can do this, I can manage this, I can do it. And he'll be like, no, no, you can't do that. No. And I'm like, as it's written.
Come
So when I
on,
wanted,
technically
yeah,
it's fine.
right, yeah, no, exactly. So like when I would, he originally asked me to rewrite the spells for the Reforged, right? So I got into it.
Yeah.
And I was tearing the spells apart. And he's
That's
like, no,
awesome.
no, that's not going to happen. So I think he ended up rewriting most. Him and Jeremy rewrote most of them, I think. But
That's so fun. I think I remember hearing a little bit about that.
yeah, because I was going to tear all the spells apart and say, we're going to make it logical. It's going to make sense.
We'll do it live.
Right. But he's like, no, you have to be able to play the game too. And enjoy what you're doing. I was like,
Man.
actuary tables.
I've been
But
finding
yeah.
that I really like dragons. I have never really cared about them growing up. I was never like in awe of dragons, but like
Yeah.
they have been at the center of most of what I've written recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just feel like they're really, really great. Like, and this is like obviously this is just like my own feeling about them, but I feel like they're very emotional, and they represent this like my dragons, at least, they represent this like really deep, like inconsolable, like longing and hunger for something.
Ah, okay. Oh,
There's like the obvious like dragon hordes, and like, you know, they're
yeah.
always like greedy and whatever, but I feel like at least the dragons that I've written, like they want something that like can't be gathered, can't be brought to them, they can't hunt it. And
Like an unrequited love.
like an unrequited love,
Yeah,
like
for
feeling
something.
home somewhere.
Yeah, I think that the whole like the gold thing, like the gold hordes and stuff,
Mm,
just wandering around collecting gold, it undersells the dragon.
me too.
And giving them longing or desire
Yeah.
or something, especially if it's something that's unattainable.
Yeah.
Uh, there has to be a word for that.
There's some Tumblr post about it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but then, yeah. Which, it's funny you mentioned that too, because dragons have never been a major thing for me either, right?
Yeah.
They're just a Chthonian, power. They're just like raw, like the building elements of everything, right? That's what they represent. That raw, unmitigated power.
Yeah, full potential. Like the full power and unmatched potential to go out and get the thing.
Right.
But they
can
can't.
never get there.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've only done one world myself, and it's called Draft.
Mm-hmm.
and I streamed it last year with the Charisma Cats. And I think sometimes I'd like to write it out or like do it differently, but the canon of that is that Draft is a world that exists within the belly of a dragon who is kind of sailing through the ether where all ideas live. It's not any specific place, it's just where any like ideas that people have is just where all those live.
Yeah.
And so there's this dragon that kind of is just drifting through that space, another idea that someone has had but not used for anything. It's like unused ideas.
Yeah.
Is the ether. And so the dragon is like aware of itself and it's aware of its place and it's just kind of drifting through the ether, and it meets another figure who also is aware of itself and aware of the dragon, and it talks to someone for the first time, and that person is a sun goddess, a goddess of the sun, and so it swallows her, and inside the belly then there's light, and a world is like created in there. And the sun goddess basically like manipulates this dragon to go through and swallow more stuff.
Oh, to bring the world. Oh, okay.
Yeah, to like populate the world and like bring stuff to it. But that means that those things aren't in the ether anymore, and so those ideas can't be realized. They're trapped inside the belly of the dragon. Because the dragon wants to be real.
So like the opposite of a muse in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I mean, the sun goddess is the villain. She's a manipulator who wants power and doesn't necessarily care about, you know, anything aside from that. It was a lot of fun to write.
That's it. I like the idea of the longing.
I just think like it's hard not to imagine them like in pain for all of their like fearsome, like, you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on. Yeah, no, you should flesh it out. Run
like
with
to.
it.
Yeah.
And you've got ample time. So just keep working on it. Believe
exactly.
me.
Yeah. I got to play test it once, so it's like already that part's done.
Do you run any more games with it?
I haven't.
Not at all?
I haven't. I'd like to. I think about it sometimes, but then like I don't know, it feels corny to like run the same adventure like on the channel twice.
Oh, right.
But
Well, you can come up with a new one. Sure.
Why not?
It's a lot harder than, it's pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to come up with an adventure.
I'm not one of those people that can like fire it from the hip. I've got to like have an idea of what happens start to finish.
Oh, really?
I have a really tough time improvising like core level like plot stuff. I can make up whatever on the fly, but I feel like I've got to kind of have an idea of where the adventure ends in order to
to move it along.
Yeah, I just have a hard time like I know it's a skill being able to like improvise that stuff, and it's just not a skill I've worked on.
It's it is, and I think the more you run games, the easier it gets over time, but it takes a long time to get there. And I haven't run games in a long time. I don't know how good I'd be at it. But I think for me, especially playing with my brother, because he was so chaotic as a player, not his characters, but it's just as a player. You can never predict what he was going to do, right? Because he'd get bored doing one thing, just move to something else. So I could never build like a plot line, right? It never worked. So all I did was have elements. And then as he moved through the elements and interacted with them, then those elements would bounce off and the plot would eventually just develop from that. And if it didn't, I didn't really care. Throw a monster at someone. There's the plot. You're gonna die if you don't fight. Oh, game's over.
Better luck next time, sucker.
Yeah. But yeah,
It's so
in
weird.
time.
My whole journey with it has been like content, kind of from start to like not till finish, but till now. Like most of the stuff that I've been in is like stuff online for viewers and like to present to an audience.
Oh.
It's just been like such a not a traditional path into the world of TTRPGs is kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, because you mentioned in a conversation a few weeks ago that you haven't played in like sit down games with friends that often.
No, I mean, so I'm playtesting an adventure right now with Nick, and it's the second or third in-person game I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
So
I
that's
mean, I shouldn't say that. I've at Gary Con and that kind of thing, but I've never had like a sustained home game in person.
Because that's all we had until 2 years ago for us. So it's a whole different feel playing in person. I mean, it's a completely different feel.
Yeah.
I think it's way easier to run a game in person than it is online. Especially
You said easier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you are at all what is it? You have the capacity to read other people's emotions, right? And you can right?
Gosh, being able to like play off of each other like that.
Yeah, and it's infinitely more difficult to read other people's emotions on camera.
Just like stumbling over each other is hard enough.
Yes.
On Zoom,
oh
you
yeah,
can't really have like more than one person talking at a time, and
No, and at a table you can have 3 or 4 people talking at the same time, and it doesn't really matter. Running the game, you can actually hear all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And what you can't and being able to pick up on those small, especially if you know the person, the small ticks, that they have, you can see it right in their eyes, the way they move their lips, their nose, or whatever, You can see it and feel it, and you can play against that,
And you can also tell Arkansas, we could have a home game. God damn it.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be cool. And you can also tell when they're bored. Okay, and you're like, okay, I gotta change things up because they're just sitting there on their phone.
Rick Hershey says you can throw dice right at them.
That's right. There's no virtual dice to hit you with. Pay attention.
When I did, oh my gosh, I think this was like a year and a half ago now. I did that like chat plays Castles and Crusades one shot. That was the most fun I've ever had in an online game. It was just with chat like voting to like take actions as the player. And this guy was like, he was talking about how he had a crossbow and he would put dice in there and shoot his players with a real crossbow.
That could hurt.
Like, dude, holy shit.